Look up at the sky over central Israel, and what you're seeing isn't one missile coming down. It's dozens of explosions spreading across several city blocks simultaneously from a single launch. Iran has now used cluster munition warheads against Israel at least 6 confirmed times since this war began. And the mechanics of how that weapon works explains why Israel's missile defense engineers are dealing with a problem their systems weren't built to solve. Here's the science, and it matters. A standard missile defense system works on a straightforward logic. Radar detects an incoming missile, tracks its trajectory, and fires an interceptor to destroy it. One threat, one response. A cluster munition warhead breaks that equation. The missile launches as a single projectile. Radar detects it. Defense systems calculate the intercept. Then, at a set altitude during descent, the warhead opens and releases between 20 and 80 smaller submunitions, each carrying approximately 2.5 kilograms of explosives, scattering across a radius of roughly 8 kilometers. Those figures come directly from the Israel Defense Forces, who have confirmed multiple cluster warhead strikes and documented the submunition patterns. The intercept window, the moment where a defense system can destroy the incoming threat, is the single missile phase. Once the warhead opens and submunitions disperse, you're no longer dealing with one target. You're dealing with dozens spreading in multiple directions simultaneously with no guidance system, simply falling under gravity. No current air defense system is designed to intercept dozens of submunitions simultaneously after dispersal. The interceptor that fired hits the casing. The submunitions are already on their way down. And here's the dimension that outlasts the immediate strike. The IDF has documented that approximately 40% of submunitions do not detonate on impact. They land intact, in gardens, on rooftops, in parks, on roads, and remain dangerous for extended periods, functioning essentially as landmines. This is precisely why more than 100 countries signed the 2008 Convention on Cluster Munitions, banning their use entirely. The weapon doesn't just cause damage during the strike. It leaves behind a hazard that persists long after the fighting stops. Iran has not signed that convention, neither has Israel, neither has the United States. But multiple human rights organizations, including Amnesty International, have condemned the use of cluster munitions against civilian areas as a violation of international humanitarian law. Now here's the economic dimension that makes this weapon strategically significant, beyond its immediate physical effects. U.S. interceptor missiles are expensive by design. Arrow interceptors run approximately $3 million each. PAC-3 Patriot interceptors are in a similar range. These systems were built to be effective, not cheap. The cost asymmetry between launching cluster munitions and defending against them isn't as extreme as some reports suggest. You can't intercept individual submunitions the way you would a guided missile, but the broader pattern holds. Iran is burning through American interceptor stockpiles at a pace that multiple defense analysts and U.S. officials have publicly acknowledged is a concern. The White House has confirmed it is pressing defense firms to boost production as Iran strikes drain existing stocks. Replacing what's being expended takes years, not months. Beyond the military strikes, something else happened this week that signals a deliberate expansion of Iran's target set. What's confirmed? Iranian drone strikes hit 3 Amazon Web Services data centers in the UAE and Bahrain, confirmed by Amazon itself. 2 of 3 availability zones in the UAE region went offline. Banks, payment platforms, and government services across the Gulf experienced cascading disruptions. This was the first confirmed military attack on a hyperscale cloud provider in history, according to the Uptime Institute. What's claimed, but not independently verified, Iranian state media, specifically the IRGC-linked Fars news agency, also claimed strikes on Microsoft data centers in the Gulf. As of this recording, that claim has not been confirmed by Microsoft or by independent reporting. We're including it because the claim is circulating widely, but your audience should know it remains unverified. What both the confirmed and claimed strikes signal is the same thing. Iran has placed Western commercial technology infrastructure, the cloud computing backbone that governments, banks, and corporations across the Gulf depend on, inside its target envelope. Whether Microsoft was hit or not, Amazon demonstrably was, and the strategic logic of targeting digital infrastructure alongside military hardware is now an established part of this conflict. Now, here's the story that's getting less coverage than the missile footage, but may matter more in the long run. The Gulf has been the centerpiece of American economic diplomacy in this region for decades. Trump's Gulf tour last year produced over $2 trillion in investment pledges, sovereign wealth fund commitments, AI infrastructure deals, technology partnerships. That pipeline was the financial argument for American engagement in the region. That pipeline is now under review. Gulf Sovereign Wealth Fund, which collectively represent trillions in assets, are reassessing their overseas investment commitments in light of the conflict. The physical destruction of infrastructure they've spent decades building, combined with the political tension of being caught between American military operations and Iranian retaliation, is forcing conversations at the sovereign wealth management level that would have been unthinkable 2 weeks ago. This matters because Gulf petrodollar recycling, the arrangement where Gulf states sell oil in U.S. dollars and reinvest those dollars into American assets, is a structural support for American borrowing costs and dollar dominance. It isn't a switch that flips overnight, but analysts tracking Gulf financial flows are watching for early signals of redirection toward alternative partnerships, particularly toward China, which has been building yuan-denominated oil contracts and infrastructure investment relationships across the region for over a decade. The conflict hasn't broken that system, but it is applying pressure to assumptions that were previously taken for granted. Here's where things stand. Iran has used cluster munitions against Israeli cities at least 6 confirmed times. It has struck the cloud computing infrastructure that the Gulf economy runs on. It has applied financial pressure to investment relationships that underpin American economic influence in the region. And it has done all of this simultaneously with its sustained missile and drone campaign against U.S. military assets. Each of these dimensions, military, digital, financial, is being managed separately by different parts of the U.S. government response. The question analysts are asking is whether managing them separately is adequate for a campaign that appears to be targeting all of them at once. That's the bigger picture. We'll keep tracking it. Stay locked in.